Good morning and happy almost summer solstice, otherwise known as Letha, and many other names, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is part of my monthly series on seasonal celebrations this year, the fifth one. So I'm doing all the solstices, then equinoxes, and then throwing some fun stuff in between. But this is a biggie. This is the summer solstice. Actually arrives on Sunday, June 21st. It can happen, maybe a day or two before or after, but this year it's on the 21st. And it really is a time, it's been celebrated for millennia in cultures all over the world as a time for celebration. It's, as the name implies, solstice, sun is soul, stis stands still. It's the time when the sun stands still. It sits at its highest point in the heavens. And therefore giving us the longest day and the shortest night. And that'll happen, you'll feel that, it's a little bittersweet, you'll feel that like a couple days before and after. And then at this moment, it very slowly, the sun starts to set a little later, a little earlier, until Lammas, which we'll talk about at the beginning of August, and then the fall equinox. We won't go there yet. Right now we're just celebrating as cultures have forever this beautiful longest day of the year. I'll put a whole bunch of stuff in my YouTube channel in the description, which I'll probably load up there later today, but wanted to touch base here. And it's definitely in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the summer solstice, and it's really this time when nature's at its peak, when it's bursting with life. We can play outdoors wherever we want, as I'm doing here. Of course I had to do the summer solstice outside. So, and it really has been this time when it was felt that the fairies came out. I've got tiger lilies. I don't know if you can see them. I've got some tiger lilies keeping me company. Not fairies, but I think can be little fairy homes. And it really is about honoring that, the solstice, the pause, the stis part of solstice, the pause that happens when we can really kind of go within our own being. And what thousands of people have done, going to Stonehenge this time of year and watching how the sun aligns perfectly with the particular stone. It is called, the heel stone, that ancient people knew how to line that up at the solstices and equinoxes. So it's a time when mother goddesses, because with the sun at its fullest, it's the most fertile and nourishing. Mother goddesses from around the world have been honored at this time. Gaia, Demeter, Ceres, Attis, Yamaya, Amma, Eve, Hera. Looking at my list, it's such a long list here. Oya, Frigga, Frigg in the Scandinavian countries. Ishtar, Cybele. So it reminds us really that you don't have to be a biological mother in order to really embrace this energy of the summer solstice. It is giving birth to books, businesses, to ideas, to anything that you have nurtured to fruition, that you brought to full breadth in the world. And it's celebrated, I mentioned before, it's also known as Lila, known as Litha in the ancient Celtic lands, Vestalia in Rome, and it was a time to really harness this sun's power when it was its most intense, and to shed those lingering shadows from the previous 6 months, from the winter solstice. So what I'm going to do is take you through, is one of the reasons I do this at least a day early, to bring you through just a very simple ritual that you might do to honor the very powerful energy that's happening at this point. And ask yourself some of these questions as you cross this threshold into summer. What dreams, wishes do you want to embody? Do you want to take out of the dark and bring to light, literally and figuratively? Where can you best let your own light, again, metaphorically, the symbolism of lightness and light is really quite powerful this time of year. And who and what can support you in doing that? So the first step will be for you to get 4, well, votive. They could be tea light candles. These I love. I'm staying at a friend's house, and we all had dinner the other night, and it's a little bee, and it's a honey bee, and it's a beeswax candle. You could do that, but I would actually suggest that you do either a votive or a tea light, because I'm going to have you carve into it. If you've ever done candle magic with me, you'll know what I'm referring to. So set yourself, create a little altar for yourself with a 3 or 6 inch candle at the center, and then surrounded by, your 4 elemental, as I call elemental or directional candles, the tea lights in each of the 4 directions, and then maybe put a little symbol, a small bowl of water, a little pinch of salt, both of which we would use in this ritual. So those would be good things for water and for earth. And to symbolize air, you could have a feather or some incense. If you're outside, you don't really need that. What am I leaving out? And a red for fire in the south, which is our passion and our spirit. A red flower, a red rose, a red tulip. Tulips are great this time of year. And then, after you created your sacred space, take maybe some of that water you put in the west for water, and some salt. Got a little bit of both here. And think about what it is. I'm going to take a few little pieces of salt. Dissolve whatever negative habits, whatever memories, whatever painful memories, whatever annoying habits, self-limiting beliefs that have kind of bubbled up over the last 6 months that you want to dissolve, that you want to get rid of. And you drop them. You can do it like, say out loud. Chaos. I feel like things have been a little crazy lately. Little sadness. It's good to feel sadness, but I don't want it to linger for friends who are having difficult times. And then just let it dissolve, symbolically dissolving, releasing any of those things that you want to let go of, to let flow away into the waters of summer. And then you can set your solstice intention with a couple different types of candle magic. And I'll include, probably in the YouTube explanation, I'll include, hey Debbie, great to see you here. I will include a link to the full thing of how I do, a full video of how I do candle magic. But you can go in each of the 4 directions, and just with a long nail or a pen, I call them my magical carving tools, and carve into it a word or symbol that represents what you want to manifest, what you want to bring to fruition, what you want to nourish under this bright, beautiful, summer sun over the course of the next several months. So when you are doing your elemental candles in the east, that would be air. What mentally how do you want to shift how you think about things or how you communicate? In the south are kind of actions and spirit. How is it that you want to open up feed your spirit? You can put something like that, just carve a little word or symbol on your little tea light or your votive candle. And then when you go to the west, is your heart, your emotions, your intuition. How do you want to soothe your heart in these summer months? And then in the north, where we honor the element of body, well, it is your body. It is the element of the body, where we honor our bodies. How do you want to nurture your body? Are there ways that you really want to embrace new habits that you maybe haven't before to really nurture yourself? So those are little ones. And then you can take, and I don't have one with me, I'm hoping to do one this week. I always do candle magic with a big candle, which hopefully you've had. Oops, somebody's walking by on the road. I don't know if you can hear that. I always do a big candle magic, a big pillar candle at the winter solstice, because it's right in time for the new year. You can also do one, and I often have, at the summer solstice, and you can, whatever you weren't able to fit on your little elemental tea lights, you can carve into the big candle, and this, I'm giving you the setup, so take as much time as you want for any of this, and then you can just spread essential oils over it. In one of the articles I've written, I'll have to find it somewhere. I know I've got all this stuff. I tell you what essential oils you can use for different qualities, for peace and protection, for prosperity, for love, all that kind of stuff. And you can anoint your big candle in the middle with essential oils. And then if you really want to go to town, you can sprinkle glitter all over it. So, very simple, very fun. It's sacred play. That's what I call ritual. I've got a wedding. I'm officiating a wedding a little bit later, and I always call that the highest form of sacred play, because it really is. It's powerful. It's symbolic, which reaches to the deepest part of ourselves, because that's where symbols reside in our deep unconscious. So even if years later you forget exactly the intentions that you made, that you carved into your candles today, your deepest self, or your highest self, depending on how you look at it, will remember that. So I hope you have fun. And in the spirit, almost forgot this one, in the spirit of summer solstice celebrations, they often would light a bonfire. And they would, obviously not too big a one, they would send their cattle, they'd send their livestock over it as a kind of a blessing for good luck. You can, and I've done this in for years when I did my live women's circles, you can jump over your candle as you make a wish. Just make sure that you don't get too close to it. And always a good idea to do things like that outside. And just jump over it into the summer months with joy and radiance, just like the sun is for us. So after any ritual, after you do this, make sure that you give yourself a few minutes just to ground and breathe, connect with Mother Earth. I am sitting right in her lap right now, which I love. And then treat yourself. Another wonderful way to ground. Well, when I'm in circle, I always say, hugs all around, the best way to ground. When you're not, if you're doing this by yourself, certainly do. If you're not doing it by yourself, certainly do that. If you are, then have ready at the end maybe some just luscious summer fruit, watermelon or peaches or something, because anytime you eat, it's like a sacred communion. You don't have to be Catholic or Christian. It really is your own earth-based, your own body-based communion. So enjoy it all. I'd love to hear what you do. I'd love to hear how your summer solstice ritual goes and just how you're moving into the summer. Happy solstice to all.